Mark Rogers TV back with you, of course, talking college football. The college football playoff rankings week 3 come out on Tuesday night. This is early Monday morning. Here are my rankings. All right. Alabama clear number 1. Ohio State jumps from 5 to 2. And I've got them at number 2. I expect them to be number 2, but these are strictly my rankings. This is not a prediction of what's going to be unveiled on Tuesday night. This is Mark Rogers TV's college football rankings. So I will justify it. I'm going to give you the top 10. Look in the comments section, the description section beneath for my 1 through 25 rankings. So here's my top 10 plus one team outside the top 10 that could make a strong push. Ohio State at 2. The Buckeyes have defeated Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Nebraska. They have been dominant most of the way early in the season, and then over the last 2 weeks over Nebraska and Maryland. They may not make it to the Big Ten Championship. We've talked about that in previous videos as well because of the Penn State factor and a possible two-way tie. I'm not going to explain the rankings top to bottom 1 through 10. If you have any questions, comments, certainly we'll talk about it in the comments section. Number 3 is Michigan, stronger overall schedule than some of the teams behind them despite the loss at a 5-4 Iowa team over the weekend. Clemson, I rate ahead of Louisville. The head-to-head means something to me. It doesn't mean everything, but it means a substantial amount. What is the best barometer of two football teams? It's when they match up on the same football field. Now, if one particular team has an overwhelmingly better track record or has a much better record, of course, but as long as the two teams, and these two teams play in the same conference in the same division, they have the same schedule, 80% the same schedule. So Clemson gets the nod at number 4 over Louisville at number 5. Clemson actually has the better, much better out-of-conference win. I can't imagine anybody selecting Louisville over Clemson. That's ridiculous. Clemson beat them head-to-head. Yes, it was a good game. Yes, it was at Clemson, but they beat them head-to-head. Plus Clemson defeated Auburn on the road, and we know how good Auburn has proven to be in the SEC. Okay, Louisville's 5. Wisconsin gets the nod over Washington, 6 and 7. The Badgers have lost 2 of the tougher games in college football and losing at Michigan by a touchdown and also losing by 1 score to Ohio State at home in overtime. Wisconsin's also defeated, of course, LSU and Michigan State and some other decent teams in the Big Ten. So I give them the nod over Washington. The Huskies' best win is probably Stanford at this point. And of course, they didn't look good in their 1 loss. So Wisconsin has looked very good in 2 losses to 2 of the best teams in the country, while Washington did not look good at home against USC. Huskies at 7. I've got Penn State with a nod over Oklahoma. Most college football projections have Oklahoma coming out on Tuesday night ahead of Penn State. I don't think that should be the case with the wins over Iowa and Ohio State. Penn State, of course, got blown out by Michigan, but that's a quality loss, not in the manner in which they lost, but losing to one of the best teams in the country. Oklahoma, the Houston loss does not look nearly as good as it did in week 1. I've got Oklahoma at 9. Of course, they've got an interesting path through the Big 12, and possibly with chaos elsewhere, the Big 12 gets back into the mix, and that comes into play with number 10, West Virginia, with just the 1 loss in conference. The one team outside of the top 10 that is very interesting to me is Colorado. I've got them rated right now at number 14. So I've got 3 lost teams in front of them in Auburn, LSU, and USC, but Colorado with a clear shot to get to the Pac-12 championship game if they take care of business, including a win over Utah. They get to the Pac-12 championship game. Let's say they defeat a 1-loss Washington team, and then Colorado sitting there as the Pac-12 champion at 11-2. That would be interesting. Of course, the Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan scenario, intriguing as well, and possibly a 2-loss Wisconsin team going on and defeating a Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State in the Big Ten championship game, a situation in which Auburn could have played itself into, but they lost over the weekend to Georgia. My thoughts on the college football playoff rankings, those are my rankings. The official ones, the real ones, come out, of course, on Tuesday night. Need to hear from you. Let's hear your argument for your team or your conference right here on Mark Rogers TV.